tell you, let me just start with the what. What is Fast Track?
Yeah.
Fast Track really is just a very simple way to get all of our members fundamentally sound, fundamentally trained in the simplest, most direct way. Now, if you're familiar with Del Fuego, they're the company who have recorded a 3-CD set with Ivan and Tom Fleming. Ivan being on the first 2 CDs and Tom Fleming on the third. The information they cover is just the fundamentals that a member of BNI would expect to be aware of and be proficient at for success. It's that simple. So the Fast Track program, if you will, is obtaining a copy of the CDs, listening to them, taking and passing the test associated with them, and then you receive the Fast Track ribbon and you are fast tracked. It is that simple. So there's no complicated, protracted program really. Buy the CDs, listen to them, take and pass the test, you're a fast tracker. Okay? And then repeat, because the nature of fundamentals are such that in order to stay sharp in the fundamentals in any area, repetition is required. So, but that's the what of BNI's Fast Track. The CDs are probably 3.5 hours in duration, so however long it takes you to. Some choose to listen to them in an evening, as opposed to maybe their TV time. Others may listen to them in their vehicle. So really a very short period of time, however long it takes you to listen to 3.5 hours of CD. You know, if you think about what results, BNI aside, any company, sports team, organization, if they're fundamentally sound, if they're fundamentally strong, then you can expect really for good results in virtually any measurable anything you want to measure. Now, specifically to BNI, we have seen larger chapters, more referrals, better referrals, more volume of business in terms of dollars passed. Anything that we've chosen to track and see what kind of difference we'd experience, we've seen a positive outcome. However, it makes sense. We're talking about being fundamentally strong, and if you're fundamentally strong, you should be able to see positive results in virtually anything you want to measure. Well, here again, conversely, if you've got chapters that are experiencing challenges in the size of their chapter, the number of the referrals, or whatever it may be, I maintain that you can trace that back to being a fundamental weakness somewhere. Well, I may recognize that a chapter is fundamentally weak, but what's important is that they recognize that and determine to do something about it. It's not always the case. You may have a team that's fundamentally weak that apparently maybe they prefer it that way. They want a nice, relaxed, maybe they're not playing to win. Maybe that's not their objective. So I think you've got to determine right up front, what are you trying to achieve here? Are you trying to win, and how would you define that? If you define it in terms of a larger chapter, more referrals, more business passed, then we've got a good prospect. However, if you've got a chapter that says we kind of like it toned down, we like to kind of be more relaxed, and we don't really want all the pressure of performance, you have a different problem. And we run into those individuals and those chapters that have that point of view. Oh, absolutely. If they are receptive to being helped, if they're defensive of their position, chapters are filled with entrepreneurial members, and if without their willingness to recognize a need for fundamental strength and a willingness to really practice the wind sprints that Dr. Meisner talks about on the CDs, there'll be no success until you can't teach a student who's not willing to learn. First of all, they're all speaking the same language. If you view a chapter as a team, then it's necessary for any team, whatever the objective of the team may be, it's necessary for the team to speak the same language, to be on the same objectives. And the stories and the situations that Ivan and Tom relate accomplish that, because everybody, if you think about it, everybody has heard the exact same stories in the exact same way over and over, and really none of us will tell the same story the same way any two times. So that's an important part too, that all of us from the director down have heard Ivan tell the same stories in the same way over and over, and that, in answer to your question, that really gives us a common starting place. We can all actually complete each other's sentences. I can remind you of something that you and I have heard over and over on the CDs. Remember, Dan, on CD number 2, Ivan's talking about the VCP process, and you go, oh yeah, I remember. So there's that familiarity with the language, the culture, the objective. It's a step that the fundamentals are such that may tend to be dry or boring, or we want to advance to the fun stuff. Let's get deeper in the book. Well, you can, but if you gloss over the fundamentals, then therein lies our struggle. Right. And no matter what the company or the sport or the discipline we may be talking about, all winners know what you just said. And that is, you just have to commit to being fundamentally strong. And if you make that commitment, it's an over and over process. You're never finished working on the fundamentals. But then again, you asked earlier, that's embodied in that story that Ivans relates about the wind sprints and when he was a high school football player and meeting those professional players, and they were shocked to find that these pros were doing the same boring, repetitious, winner-producing fundamentals that they were objecting to. Now, so part of it is the knowing that. We all get that. It's the discipline to apply it daily. And I draw strength from you, one of my chapter members, knowing that you're fundamentally plowing away, and it makes me go ahead and do what I might not be able to do on my own. So that's an immediate impact that we see, or immediate difference that we see in chapters that agree we need to be fundamentally strong. We need to have a program to do so. It needs to be simple and transferable, all those elements. And this is one way to do that. There are a lot of ways to be fundamentally strong. There's no one magic recipe in any discipline that I'm aware of, but certainly in B&I terms, there are a lot of ways to be fundamentally strong. This is just simply one that we've found that works.